This is the Elite Gaming Channel 20K Age of Empires 4 tournament. We are here to witness the final 16 generals in battle. Let's introduce the commanders. Hello and welcome. My name's Anuki. How are you? Oh, that's nice. Banter over. This is a battle between the French. And as the original French, the Blue French, a member of the IMP, it's Capoch, already exploring the world of Dry Arabia. Their home base, DIY village, situated to the east. Their opponent stands against everything France stands for, ruling for the red. I reckon it's Recon. And I do love to banter. Sadly, my co-banter partner couldn't make it to cast these games with me, so it's like another Christmas alone, where I just open my presents I've sent myself. Recon sending us so far and wide to already start on that gold. The map, as we've mentioned, is Dry Arabia, as the scouts will pass each other collecting sheep. It's a very open map. We have a market at the bottom. We have, of course, the sacred sites lined up down the middle of the map. We haven't seen a sacred site victory, I believe, yet. I think everything has just been annihilation and surrender victories. I would love to see a sacred victory. I don't think we will. I mean, it's more plausible to see a sacred victory than it will be a wonder. The last marketplace at the top of the map. So fairly accessible marketplaces to both these players. I mentioned this in a previous match as well. Very little trading has been happening in these matchups. Other useful things to know, we've got double deers down here for, I'm going to say Capoch, because Capoch sounds wrong to me, so Capoch. That'll be pretty nice to have. As for Recon, they do have deer next to berries, and then more deer just above that. So extending to the north will be super great for food income. Now, as this is a mirror matchup, I don't think we need a civilization breakdown, but just for those news players out there, France has increased villager production, an additional 5% per age. It does have trading bonuses, which is why I'm baffled to see very little trading going on, particularly on safe maps. And Dry Arabia, by comparison to the other maps, is one of the safer maps. France also gets Royal Knights, which can be extremely tough, resilient, and self-sustainable. They have really nice crossbows too. The Arbaletriere. Said it perfectly. Nice job, Anuki. They have a big shield they can plonk down in front of them, but we rarely get to see them, which is a shame because I think they look glorious. School of Cavalry is in the works. There are no surprises there. No School of Cavalry would mean no Chivalry upgrade and no self-healing either. Both our generals delivering sheep back, and it looks like Recon had the most sheep. Battles aren't won by sheep alone. I am expecting, though, when mods do come, we will have some kind of sheep mini-game. The design of these little fuzzballs has become pretty iconic. And for some reason, I think in 3 years' time, we'll probably have a sheep icon for our banners, wearing sunglasses and being totally rad. And I guess speaking of being totally rad, this is a good time to say, have you checked out the EGC Discord yet? It's great. There are only friends there to find, absolutely no family. You can check in on competitive play, maybe even get involved in future events. And mayhap one dayeth I be casting a gameth from upon your battles. Felt like there was a tiny bit of pirate in that old English attempt, but I'm fairly happy with how it went down. Capoch is exploring the base of Recon, sees the School of Cavalry going down, which we know, like, these are the top players So they're going to have very, very similar building and economy early on. But what they really want to know, really want to know, is where those gold mines are situated. Recon, doing some reconnaissance, finds that useful bit of information out as both players making into the feudal age. Probably also going, what? You got 2 deer spawns like right next to each other? Yeah, I wish I had that. Well, no matter. You've got some pretty good stuff to the north. So, what's kind of interesting in these French versus French matchups is who kind of asserts their dominance first. As a Royal Knight goes straight in on to a scout, right straight for the building. Very nice horse riding skills. Looked slick going through that gap. Recon putting up a tower next to the gold. I think they've played this game before. They also had a mill on the berries, which some people I have seen ask, what's the point in berries? They are slow to gather. Well, the answer to that is they're a good transitional food source. If you are down to berries, then you really need to start getting those farms down as the knights clash just outside. It's a 1v1, but here comes Susan with a knife. Oh, Susan is very scary. Scary Susan, that's what we call her. Capoch doesn't want to mess with Scary Susan. Oh, the stories she has. Scary Susan stories, we call them. Once launched herself from a trebuchet wielding a knife in one hand and a baguette in the other. Well, the baguette is for the good people that don't need knifing, like French Santa. Anyway, there's wolves around. We've learned that Capoch was faster on the buzzer to initiate an attack. Recon is having a knight make their way over to Capoch's village. And a knight already stands guard on the most susceptible area for being raided. So those villagers are nice and protected. They're also going to get a sheep for their troubles. Couple of idle knights here just outside of the sacred site, feeling disappointed that they might not be able to get the results that they were quite hoping for. And I wonder if we're going to see more towers from Recon. They have the knights protecting the barriers. The gold miners can get in the tower, although there's not enough room for all of them. Still quite helpful. Here comes Recon with their knight against the barriers, and the knights from Capoch are no longer here. There they are, riding up. No villager kills. One knight often isn't enough. Taking some damage, but chivalry should soon be up, and they can begin to self-heal. Yeah, it's right on time. Both players now with the upgrade, and I think we might be witnessing what I call a joust. A jostle between who can tussle over the enemy knights. It's back and forth, but I don't think it's the back and forth we wanted. These commanders, though, they have a lot on the line. 20,000 in prize pool money, and all that stands in their way are each other and 3 more opponents. Recon with another tower right next to the barriers, and I like it's also against the wood too, to try and make it harder for opposing knights to squeeze through. But at the same time, if the knights do get through, the villagers have to move through the knights to get into the tower. Recon trying to deal with the scout. Oh, the scout backs on themselves, gets himself killed, and there's just knights all over the place. Capoch moving into the gold line. But no one has to be worried. They've got that tower that they can jump into, and 2 knights for protection. So back away, heal up, try again another day. Capoch hiding their knights in the stealth forest just beside their village. Also expanding out to the deer spot and sticking a tower down too. It's good for villagers that are pretty far away from your town center to have some residence that they can hide in, which kind of makes me think, like, I wonder if houses should have one slot that people could hide in, like just villages. I think that'd be kind of interesting. And they wouldn't fire. You know, they can't fire outside of the house, only out of a tower. Here we go, joust straight into each other. Big collision. Capoch wants to head back home. The stealth forest. Always got to be careful when chasing an army through a stealth forest because your units will lose sight. So they'll stop moving. And you're going to have to make sure you issue the order to move into the stealth forest and follow, and then reinitiate the attack command. More knights join for Capoch, and Recon says, okay, I'm outnumbered. Let's ride back to my base, where 1 or 2 more knights will join me, and we'll just reset the cycle over and over again. In the north, we also have a few more knights, which are doing the back and forth ride around all the way. But it is here where Recon is able to get 2 knights into Capoch's village, but no casualties. The villager was able to get inside of the town center just in time. North, stuff going on. South, going on. Here we go. This looks like an attack that Capoch doesn't want to be a part of, as we now ride over to Capoch's base and see what they've been up to. Probably producing more knights. I was promised strategy and tactics. Instead, what we get is a more grim version of My Little Pony. Both commanders just trying to outmaneuver each other. And as the match goes on and the knights build up more and more, the risks become heavier. Losing a whole army of knights is not a simple thing to replace. And you can see Capoch is trying to retreat away their more injured knights to be able to recuperate. And in comes a flank of knights for Recon. And it seems like the victory goes to them for this battle. Capoch retreating using the wider formation. They will get under the tower for a bit of comfort, and there's a marketplace here too. So maybe we will see some trading after all. Recon hanging around in the middle south of the map with their largest force. Farms are going up now too, creating a more sustainable future for Recon, keeping the workers close to home so they can jump into the town center. And no stone being harvested yet, so no second town center in sight for now. Recon's keeping their knights close to home. Lots of berry gathering. There goes another tower. And if we jump over to Capoch, we have a stables that have gone down, farms looking very similar. And they also had a blacksmith. Let's check in on the blacksmith upgrades. I would assume we have armor and damage upgrades for melee units. It's going to help their knights a lot in these fights. We can also see if Recon has the same with their blacksmith. They are missing the armor upgrade. So a small tech advantage for Capoch. Knight in the back, hurting the poor gold miners. There's no more room in the tower. There is a knight to lend their assistance. In goes Recon on the north side of Capoch's base, looking for some trouble, but there's no villagers in sight, so they're just riding around aimlessly at the moment. And they do have a scout in there, I think. Yeah, I see one. But all the villagers are not around here. They've moved close to the town center on the farms. The wood's not in this location. There's some juicy deer harvesting going on. And then there's a lot over at the gold, which could be at risk with so many towers around. Vision is incredibly good all around Capoch's base. And again, super wide formation as the knights roll straight in between the buildings. One knight loses their life as they didn't seem to get the correct order. The rest will escape being chased by Capoch. And it looks quite equal in numbers. Even a wolf added to the ranks there. Healing is triggered. And, you know, it's kind of almost like watching a game between someone fighting themselves. An evil version of themselves. And whilst this big chase is on. It's all the small little battles which are the ones that are really having much more of an effect. Nobody looking to switch off knights anytime soon. There's a battle in the north, in the choke point, and Recon lines against Capoch's knight formation. And they seem to have the overwhelming numbers that they need to win this battle. Capoch still microing their knights to try and save whatever they can. Another victory to Recon. We're about 15 minutes in. Is there any consideration for the castle age yet? Or is everything just going into creating more knights? And after that victory, Recon isn't doing anything daring or bold, just content with lowering the overall power of Capoch. That's good enough for them. The gold has dried up at Capoch's village, so they're gonna have to migrate over to more dangerous territory, which is exactly where Recon was riding to. And if they can control this area, that would be pretty devastating. They send Capoch's army back. But Capoch really doesn't want to have to give up this area. There's no way they'll be able to produce knights unless, which they do, sell some wood. In other news, Age of Empires 4 is currently topping the Steam sales chart, not just once. Not just twice, but 3 times. The pre-order, the normal version, and the digital deluxe. Like, that's right, not just shoutcasting, but video game news too. But that's pretty impressive, I think. But I think what's most impressive is that you can actually play this game for about $1 through the Microsoft monthly Game Pass. I don't know who this Microsoft person is, but they seem to be pretty bad at business. Villagers getting thwacked. And we do have some stone mining going on. Capoch able to slay a few villagers. And we do have Castle Age going on. The Guild Hall is under construction and is coming to a cinema near you. One knight getting through very low on health isn't going to be able to do much like that. All you can really do in a situation is just queue up multiple waypoints and try and get them back to base. Hopefully not making too many 90-degree turns. Just keep it nice and smooth to be able to keep that distance away. Incoming a raid, or maybe not, because Recon's army is down here and they will meet them in battle. And some of the red knights are struggling to get round into sword art range as we've got these gold villagers just slumping by, and they're not even going to be struck down. That's the whole reason we want to be here, right? Very, very lucky villagers, traveling far and wide to deposit that gold. Capoch, though, bringing the fight over to Recon, is certainly making their village look much more prosperous. And the Guild Hall was finished. But will we be getting a lot of payback from all the resource stockpiling? Because I haven't yet seen during the tournament the Guild Hall really pay off all that much. It's been, very small amounts, short games. France isn't usually sticking around for these 40-minute long plus battles. They've been, so far, quickly decided, but France versus France in the final 16, that's where players have strong foundational skills, good macro management. I even heard both these players trained in Anno. 1 hour a day, and you don't get a lot done in Anno in 1 hour, so you have to play really quickly, let me tell you that for free. Speaking of which, these videos are not monetized for your viewing pleasure. And these towers are for killing knights, for everyone's pleasure. Capoch really wants some gold. They'll mass up towers and try and protect the villagers to secure this site whilst the battle goes on all around them. They see familiar faces, messed up spaces, displaced bakers, these poor villagers climbing into the tower to help out. And even with their help, Recon looks exceptionally strong. And that's the surrender for Blue Friends. Capoch has been defeated. Congratulations to the victor of this match. Recon will go 1-0. Join me for the next match where the war continues.